What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit. Your name's not. Ha! I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not. I'm serious. In the top of the map, playing as Frere. His name is 3DB with 2 L's at the end. His opponent today in the red color playing as Nullus. No, he's playing as Loki. His name is Nullus. What a time to be alive. The map is Bamboo Grove, which is, I mean, one of the new Chinese maps. But, I mean, the cool thing about this series, we're in the deciders here. I'm currently watching after the fact. So we're watching the recorded games for everyone who's playing along at home, wondering why there is still Clash of Immortals qualifiers action going on. I just want to watch these games. I didn't get the opportunity to. I watched basically one or two of the decider series each day, which does leave quick math 6 other series to get through. So yeah, there's quite a lot of extra games to watch. So I'm excited to get through these and see how these guys go. But the other thing that's kind of cool is we've got a little bit of friendly neighborhood action here. As both these players from the same country, they've got that Russian blood through their flowing through their veins as they're going to be going at it against each other here. So some very exciting shenanigans to come at us, but a Loki versus Frere matchup a little bit wild. A little bit of a question in the chat. Anyone genuinely like this map? Well, firstly, let's talk about what this map is and how it functions and why we might like and why we might not like it, depending on what sort of play styles. So Bamboo Grove, as well as a lot of the other Chinese maps, with this open center in the middle, this means that your push through the center is going to head straight into the main base, which is very different from every other map, right? So there's some very, very different types of strategy that you can use to take advantage of this, whatever that might be, but lots of very powerful timing attacks through the center. But beyond that, the defenses against those sort of strats are very, very nice as well, because on both sides of your base here, you're going to be able to cut off the entrance to some degree by grabbing these town centers. So grabbing this one here and grabbing this one. Obviously, this one here is going to block off everything on this left-hand side. This one at the top here blocks you from taking the center and then motoring around the side here. But you can go ahead and decide to run all the way around the outside to come and hit stuff like this. So basically what I'm saying is the map is very, very different. Very, very different to anything that we've seen before. So there's going to be a lot of strategic possibilities to kind of think about. But yeah, I don't think you can really go at this and play it in the same sort of style as you would all the other maps. And there is I have found that there is a pretty big tendency for players of the higher level to be very close-minded when it comes to variety in maps, which is kind of interesting to me because you would expect most people would want to play on more variety of maps and see a whole bunch of different types of games rather than kind of playing the exact same sort of map and sort of type of game every single time. So we've already seen one amazing game on this map. It was, I believe, Eric versus El Matador, I believe. This was a really, really great game, and this map kind of allowed for that to be the case. So yeah, there's been a couple of good games on this map, but nonetheless, there's a lot of potential for this map, and there's a lot of potential for the map to go completely pear-shaped as well. So that's the same with everything. Anyways, now that we've gotten through the early game, we can start talking about what the players are actually doing. It's just going to be a long house up for Nullus to kick this one off. Nullus playing Loki, he's going to be wanting to go into those units that have bonus damage. So getting out maybe Herdman, getting out Throw an Axeman, probably staying away from the Berserks a little bit, but he might decide to go into them maybe a little bit later once he gets the Mithril Breastplate going from Forcetti. And then on top of that, he could also get out Herser. Never mind, he's going straight into Berserks. I'm wrong. Makes some sense to some degree as he throws down a Great Hall. The reason I was saying maybe going into the counter the Herdman or the Thrown Axeman, because the counter damage is there and you get a little bit of a boost. So this might just be to get himself going, and then he might start thinking about going that way as well. B here has decided that Freya is going to be his option. It's kind of standard in the Norse Mirror, though it's standard in the Norse Mirror because of map layouts and things like that. This map here probably does play pretty well into an Ulla game plan. So maybe 3DB not thinking about that and just kind of playing the straight down the line what everyone else does type thing. He is obviously kind of new to Age Mythology, so a lot of the times when you're bouncing around games, you just kind of follow what everyone else has sort of worked out, and you just try and do it better than them, because he's obviously an incredibly talented RTS player. At this point, moving out with the Herser, looking for some things to grab. He does have himself the Kopesh of Horus at the top here. Over on this side, there is the Tyr Fing Angantyr's sword as well to grab. So grabbing those is going to be nice as Nullus slowly starts to storm across the map as the Valkyrie is just going to get out of there for the time being. Now, Nullus is slowly making his way across here. We've got that Hall of Thanes coming through, and we are seeing those Thrown Axemen. So that this was the idea to get out. I mean, he's making Berserks as well. I guess it sort of makes sense because he's going to get Hall of Thanes, but no Herdman just yet. Berserks, Thrown Axemen, Herser, Raiding Cavalry, get a little bit of everything here. 3DB on the other side, he just needs to sit back and play very defensively. He's got this back gold mine over here. Doesn't need to go into these berries kind of ever. He's got nice chickens. Getting himself watchtowers through will protect him. And then Nullus will have to start figuring out a different way to get pressure on. As these units here for 3DB, they say it's time to attack. Nullus kind of getting caught out of position here, overextending by quite a bit as he's going to get a couple more units into the mix here. Those Thrown Axemen will be very, very useful. No serious upgrades here for 3DB. He's going to be dropping a Forest Fire onto this side as Nullus is just going to move slightly away from there. The army differential here is actually insanely in favor of Nullus for the time being here, as the Thrown Axemen all getting taken down. B trying to chase down the Thrown Axemen over here, managing to do so, but an Einherjar spawn for Nullus might turn the tides too heavily in this fight, and then Healing Spring to come down, and 3DB has got a very, very tough few moments ahead of him now in this game. Losing that fight generally in the Norse Mirror means you have lost the game, but the game is very, very early stages here. I like that there from 3DB, getting a little bit of a shift click over onto this gold mine. But yeah, Nullus now, he just has to make some good decisions to build on his advantage. Whether he tries to swing around the corner here and try and get onto this gold mine, that'd be very nice. The food at the top here is also open. The wood line over here is also open. He can walk straight through here, as he's going to be going for as well as the villagers just simply pulling back. And Nullus is just going to say, well, I may as well just go and attack here. There is a nice bamboo tree at the back there if he wants to go there. But yeah, Nullus's army is really powerful. He's got medium infantry as well. He's got tons more population. And the Gulen Bursty to get dropped down here, charging after that troll to kill that one off, getting a huge amount of damage back on to Nullus. As 3DB here does manage to survive another day. It does kind of beg the question as to why he wanted to attack so much earlier. He could have just waited for Nullus to walk into his base, use the Gulen Bursty to give himself a huge amount of advantage. But nonetheless, he does give himself a little bit more reprieve in this game to get himself up to population and his base defended. There's a temple now coming down for Nullus on this position, as he wants to potentially spam out a whole bunch of trolls. You're getting... It's just the one temple. Yeah, it's probably a troll spam sort of angle now for Nullus, because no Gulen Bursty means it's going to be tough to kill those trolls off in the classical age, and they can be just really, really powerful. At the moment, there's 58 favor, so that's a good handful. You can get that cave troll technology as well. It's going to be really, really strong.
Skipan.
It's now 3DB. His best option here is to snipe units, get villager kills, and just try and mitigate any sort of pressure that Nullus is going to put onto him. He does still have the option of, you know, A gear as a sort of defense against Bragi. Can sort of catch the Loki out to some degree with that god power, but Nullus is well and truly on the advanced time. He's way in front, and he is going to be attempting to convert here on this early game advantage that he's managed to grab. As it looks like B, I mean, he's just spamming units out. He doesn't really have another option. There is a timing here, though. This is always the sort of risk with going to the heroic age, is you spend yourself 1,300 resources, your opponent builds a whole bunch of units there, and if you can push in and get a good fight before that heroic age comes in, then that's going to be really good value, and it's going to be a way back into this game here for 3DB, but Nullus here losing one Herser. I love these buildings getting placed around the forward healing spring. This means it's going to be really tough to steal this away. You have to kill the armory, kill the longhouse, and kill the Great Hall, and have no units in here as well. But for the moment here, Nullus can't really push forward. He needs to wait for the Bragi. He does have equal military. It's equal villages. It's just going to be a tech advantage cooking for Nullus. He doesn't actually have to take the fight straight away, but it looks like he's going for it as the Berserks charging around the side here, throwing Axeman, trying to get some shoot and scoot micro going as the raiding cavalry pulling in to try and retreat back into the main base here. Meanwhile, on the top side, villagers sitting idle on this tree line as those raiding cavalry are there to cause some problems. Flaming weapons getting dropped down there as well. Another Iron respawn, as if the first one wasn't enough there. Over onto this side, the raiding cavalry will be getting some villager kills, but B does turn around and starts to fight that, as it kind of looks like another Iron respawn. Are you kidding me? This is just too much here. This is just too much here for 3DB to deal with. I think there was a moment in this fight where one Einherry was maybe enough for him to deal with, but that second one popping through just gives such a gigantic advantage, as one Valkyrie might be enough. 3DB can attempt to keep himself alive. He's got 7 military population in at the moment, but same too here for Nullus. He's down to 29. This game is still very, very much in the balance. I'm currently noticing that maybe this scoreboard is a bit funky, but we're gonna keep it going. As the battle ball for Nullus is gonna try and push up onto this gold mine. This is gonna be a big pain for 3DB to deal with, as the Valkyrie coming out here to try and deal with this Einherry over here. One Ursa is going to be scary, but it's not attacking those Valkyrie at the moment, as the dwarves all have to start retreating away. The battle ball chasing that down.
Yeah.
These Valkyrie should be able to beat that battle ball there, but he has got to be very, very careful, as there's just so many units now repopulated for Nullus. He's going after the ball. We'll be able to take that down at the very least here, but the rest of these human units are falling, as Nullus has definitely found himself the angle for an advantage in this game to potentially win in this moment. On the bottom side of the map, we've already got 3DB moving over onto a gold mine, so he's managed to find that situation there to be a big, big help. That's the Valkyrie looking to try and take out those Berserks. We'll see if we can get in onto it. The Herso coming over here to try and take out the Valkyrie. He's going to have to retreat back. I don't really see it here for 3DB at this moment. He's going to lose all those Valkyrie to the Herso very, very quickly if they miss micro. Plus, the battle ball here are just going to clean everything else up. The town center is going to go down next, and he doesn't have any food income. He's got only wood, so he's only able to build thrown action at the moment, which is always a difficult position to be in, as the Hertz are managing to get over onto those Shieldmen Valkyries there, as all of those end up falling, and this looks like Nullus will race to a 1-0 lead in this best of 5 decider for the qualifiers. Really solid play here from Nullus. I think 3DB, like, it kind of felt like he didn't really know what to do, so to speak. Against Loki with Fred, you don't have any advantage early. So a map like Bamboo Grove, this is perfect to just sit back, mass units up, maybe send some Valkyrie around to get some raids in the main base of the Loki player while he's trying to pressure you, and get yourself watchtowers and just play a nice defensive game. And if the Loki player overcommits, then you can drop the Ghoul and Bursty, kill off a whole bunch of units, and ride that advantage into the sunset with your victory. But in this one, doesn't quite work out for B, and Nullus gets that dub. We'll move into game number 2 and see how it goes. Alrighty, we're into game number 2 now. Nullus versus 3DB. And this time we're going to be seeing 3DB going with the Isis. Thank you for the Prime Tribus. Tribus? 5 months. Appreciate you, my friend. Thanks so much for the support. In the right-hand corner, we've got Nullus. He's going in with Thor. So keeping the Norse dreams alive here. Nullus, for those of you who don't remember, I think it was an OG Norse main. He kind of found a lot of his early... Well, he found his tournament success with Hades, but I think before then he was somewhat of a Norse main. I could be wrong. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I tell you what is wrong, however, is this scoreboard, as Nullus is currently up 1-0 in this best of 5 series. So, the big question here on everyone's lips is, what is 3DB going to do with Isis?
In a Jirek.
So Isis is in this weird position right now, where, okay, let me unpack exactly what I think about Egyptian on the current patch. Right now, Egyptian's strongest god path is Ptah, Sekhmet, and then Horus or Osiris. Or, I mean, Thoth. Actually, any of the Mythic Age gods are still good. Now, Isis doesn't have Ptah or Sekhmet. Now, Isis does have still Bast and Nephthys. And also does have Anubis, which, while I've seen it have some success, I'm still on the fence about it. So I'm excited to see what 3DB is going to come up with. This guy is so creative in this game that he's always got some sort of ideas to give himself an advantage from like a strategic standpoint. Like, your opponent can't deal with X, so let me go for X. And then you're as your opponent, you go, wow, he got to X, and now I can't deal with whatever that is, and you lose, right? That's what 3DB is really good at. I actually think he's just a really good RTS player as well. And maybe if some of the time he just plays a little bit meta, that might catch players off guard, and he'll actually find wins just by playing like a very stock standard style of Age mythology. But nonetheless, he's going to be dropping his temple down. He's already got himself that Flood of the Nile technology to boost his resources, or his food income, I should say. On the other side here, Nullus has got his Dwarven Armory. He's going to be looking to build his temple up very, very shortly here. King Agvi, thank you for the 100 bits, my friend. And there's that temple to come down, and it's going to be Bast. So I'm not exactly surprised to see the Bast, as we see the villagers actually moving over onto wood. So this is actually very surprising. I've got no idea what he's going for. I mean, if he had the monuments down, I'd say he's just going for quick Sphinx upgrades. But there's no monuments down, so I'm confused. Wait, he doesn't have pickaxe yet. Okay. I am confused. I wish I knew, but we're gonna find out very, very shortly. Like, I'm racking my brain as to what he's gonna try and build. He might go for slingers. That's kind of the only other thing that I can think of. Is there any other upgrades that come? He's got a lot of food in the bank already. A lot of villagers now over onto gold. Did he get... He didn't get pickaxe yet. I'm confused. Someone help me. I want to know what he's doing. I mean, at the moment, Null's here. He's going through 4 City. He's just playing standard. This is just as standard as it gets for the Thor players. And he is going to be grabbing himself the early Cryo Sphinx. But he's still only got 1 monument. Hand axe, pickaxe to come through. As the Sphinx are going to start moving across the map. Looking for something to kill. Maybe there's going to be monuments getting dropped out. There's that second monument now coming in as the hearse are going to wander into the main base of 3DB, just seeing exactly what's... hello there. Hello. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, ouch. First blood drawn. First blood drawn. This is at the end of a fairly long day for these players. So I can imagine that the brain can get switched off from time to time. As Cryo Sphinx is in... Over on this side. Is he going up for the next one? He's still got 5 villagers on gold. Probably looking for the fast Heracro Sphinx. As there he goes with that one. But he's still got villagers on wood, so maybe he'll pull them off and go over onto the berry bush once he notices. Right, the Sphinx going to pull back. Probably going to have to heal itself back up. Nellis is going to drop himself a great haul. Couple of longhouses. Generally, when I see a ISIS player or an Egyptian player as Norse, and I see them doing this, my first instinct is, get me to the heroic age. If I can get to the heroic age through Skadi, all of a sudden, Eclipse is not useful. I'm just gonna freeze all those Sphinx in place, and then I'm gonna surround them with Herser and Godi and kill them off. The third monument to the priest coming down. Now the armory, double armory and a market. We also see a barracks to come through for 3DB at the moment. We'll see what his plan is going to be. This is looking very... I must admit, this is looking very, very odd from 3DB, but he is one of those types of players. So he's going to throw you off by just how unorthodox what he's doing is. There's the Sphinx coming through. Getting a couple of smacks onto the Berserk over here. And he will be able to clean this one up, I think. But a couple of Hearts are coming over to just get a couple of smacks here. 3DB will be able to find himself nice and safe. But we'll have to come and heal that back up yet again. As the Axemen are going to slowly start to trickle out. Villagers moving forward onto this middle deer here. Got to be very, very careful with that, though. As the army now for Nullus is starting to look very big. He's got himself 21 military population. He's got a lot of buildings here, a lot of resources in the bank. It looks like he's just going to go heroic age. I think this is absolutely the correct play, by the way. Like, you build yourself out a handful of Herser. I probably wouldn't even bother with the raiding cavalry. Get the walls up, get the nice building protection up, and then you just get yourself a nice, like, 9-minute heroic age, and you're good to go against pretty much anything that the Egyptian player is going to throw at you. There's the raiding cavalry throwing axemen coming through. It does kind of look like Nullus has thrown his game plan out the window here as he says, alright, I see you spamming stuff, so let me spam stuff too. There's more buildings to come down. I mean, we've also got 695 wood in the bank for 3DB. As he is slowly making units out. He's not really making all too many slingers here. Maybe his plan is to sell some wood at some point. As the Sphinx do come through, getting one dwarf kill. And Nullus is just going to be able to jump onto the goats. As he does get caught out a little bit. Just a tiny bit of damage there. One dwarf going down. And the rest of these just going to hide in under that spot. Now Nullus says it's time to attack here. He's got a lot of resources in the bank, as well as the Sphinx do find the dwarves on this gold mine over here. The Hearse are going to make their way over. 2 dwarves getting taken down. Some really, really good raids for the time being here from 3DB. He's even microing these Sphinx beautifully as we see a dwarven mine forced out. I think Nullus is going to be kicking himself for not just going to that next age. We do see a handful of slingers, the axemen, the sphinx, they're all out. But where to next? It's just going to be more and more units. And now the thing about this map that we didn't really talk about, this is Steppe. All the gold mines are sort of around the outside. You do have one that's kind of close to your base, but it's going to be on the front of your base. And the rest are on the outside of the map. So it's very, very challenging to secure a gold mine with like walls and little tight choke points and things like that. As the Sphinx moving up to the top position, and they will be finding some villagers here to get even more damage. Alice is really playing with fire here with this, with these villagers. He's going to lose a lot of them as the special comes through. He retreats into the main base, but 3 dwarves down. The villager differential here is still pretty close, though. I would actually put the economic advantage probably still in favor of Nullus. As the Sphinx just, I mean, what else are they going to do now? They've got all the damage. The army is built at some, excuse me. At some point here, Nullus is gonna have to fight an eclipse, and that's the scary part. That is the absolute scary part here. There's the raiding cavalry coming through, taking this fight at the moment. There's the eclipse to come through. The Hersa trying to break through and deal with these Sphinx on the side. One thing with eclipse is that the Sphinx do get bonus speed, bonus damage, but also bonus armor. Well, they do have a little bit more survivability as Nullus's army melts to that attack. Now 3DB is well and truly in the driver's seat here. As Nullus going to retreat back into the main base. So longhouses to go down over here. And we'll see if Nullus can hold on against this very, very powerful Egyptian army here. There is enough gold in the bank for another dwarven gold mine, so he can pull off there if he wants. As he charges forward, there's the eclipse finished up. The slingers going after the throwing axeman beautifully. Nullus pulling back here as the Sphinx charging forward, ready to take out those villagers on this gold mine. We might be seeing a heroic age to come through as well very, very shortly. As one Sphinx goes down, there's a lot of favor in that bank there, though, for Nullus to be getting out a bunch of dudes here. There's a Hersa going down. The raiding cavalry swinging around onto those slingers at the top. Sphinx getting huge damage done, but can 3DB break through here? It looks like the answer may be no, but the damage has been done. The damage has absolutely been done here. A couple of Hersa to come through as well and deal with those Sphinx. I mean, there's only a little bit of HP left on this one, and only one left here. These raiding cavalry are very, very upgraded, and there's not a whole lot of spearmen in this army now for B, as Nullus might be able to push back here. Another Sphinx to come through there. 125 favor. We need to see some myth units coming through for Nullus. But, I mean, he's got the wood income actually at the moment, but he's not producing those trolls. As it looks like Nullus has got nothing left. And a quick victory there for 3DB. I got to question the... I mean, I think that Nullus... He had the right idea. Kind of. He had the right idea. He pre-queued Heroic Age. I don't think Bragi was the right pick, but he didn't even get through Bragi. He didn't even get to it because he just was like, oh, I'm going to spam units and go and attack. And that played straight in to 3DB's plan. And as unorthodox as this build order and this sort of ordering and this way that 3DB got to this position was, the answer is still going to be the same. Eclipse gets countered very, very hard by Frost, by Skadi. Plus, you also got access to the Goaty, which are good against Axeman and against the Sphinx. And then you also get those big Frost Giants, as well as a Dwarven Mine that you can just place in your main base and really, really enjoy. But beyond all of that, absolutely no trolls here for Nullus with 136 favor in the bank. That's a difference maker here. That's a lot of unspent resources. When you think about what this actually means, this is 1,360 resources unspent in your bank. That's a huge amount. But nonetheless, that's game number 2. We'll be moving on to game number 3 here very shortly. Level in the series here for 3DB. Great play on this one. So moving into game number 3, we'll see if 3DB can continue the momentum here or if Nullus is going to pull it back. All right, we've got ourselves game number 3. We're now moving in onto the map Anatolia. A little bit of a cheeky... hybrid map here, as 3DB going to decide to actually go in with Ra on this map. I haven't seen him playing Ra much at all, to be honest, let alone playing Ra on water maps. But we'll see how he's going to go. He's actually deciding to not go for a dock at all. No, he has. Never mind. I told a lie. He's coming out to drop a dock over here. Okay. Meanwhile, his opponent, Nullus, is back on his pride and joy. The Hades is in. That's always exciting to see. So a little bit of Hades shenanigans here for Nullus. He's always been an incredible defender with this god. And yeah, he just has it. He has it unlocked to a very, very high level. As Nullus gonna just get himself his first dock on this right side. So both players are going to be able to claim their side of the fish. He's also dropping a storehouse over here, which is kind of cute. That means he doesn't have to walk all the way back to his home base. I do kind of think the best way to do this, actually, it might... Yes. You can drop food off into this dock, I believe. So if you grab yourself a goat and send that over with the villager, then you don't have to build a storehouse. You can just be eating a goat on top of this dock, and you can hang out on this position if you really want. That's probably like your ultra high level, sweaty, get as much value out of your villager movement as possible early game ideas on these sorts of maps. We do see Nullus has stolen a couple of goats over here. He doesn't want to try and sneak them back home, though he probably could make it at this point. Just come through here and just come through here and go straight into his main base. Obviously, we've got Omniscience, so we can know that, but it's worth it to just try and bring those back home. But B's going to grab all of this water. I like the way that he's done this. I don't think he's scouted, which I think is probably a little bit of a mistake. Generally, you don't want to do this if you don't know your opponent. Unless you know your opponent is here, you don't want to do this. But he is going forward. I'm pretty sure this doesn't work anymore.
In wedge.
I'm pretty sure this idea doesn't work anymore, 3DB. He did not read the patch notes. There was this really interesting... I was a fan of it. There was this really interesting thing with the granary, meaning that it was a food storage site, which meant that you could drop food into it with this fishing ship. We'll find out if it is working or not very, very shortly. But 3DB might not have read those patch notes, as he is currently going off his old strategies here.
Gireg.
I guess we're going to wait and see. And then the fishing ship will go back to the dock. Yeah. So yeah, you can't get away with this anymore. It's unfortunate for 3DB. He kind of didn't read the patch notes or didn't test it out. And those fishing ships here with those granaries are just not going to be helping. I don't think it's a bug. I think that this is something that just makes sense. I think it's a decision to make as a player. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe it'll come back at some point. But like, it's a food drop site. Sure, it says on it that it's villagers deposit food here. I'm pretty sure that was updated with this patch as well. And this one over here is serves as a drop site for fish and other food. So obviously you are allowed to drop food into this dock if you want with the villagers. But let me know what you guys think. I like the idea of giving players a lot more strategic decisions. Deciding to drop a granary down over a dock. Like the dock has got its own, not dropping a dock has got its own weaknesses, right? That means that you're not going to have any sort of defenses there. This is just a granary. You can't garrison into it. The fishing ships are going to be able to get killed off. They can't garrison into the dock. But anyways, at least the granary is worth free. He's not going to be that far behind, but wait.
Image erect.
I think 3DB is working it out now in game. Oh, that's gotta hurt. It's gotta hurt to figure that all out. Meanwhile, on the other side here, Nullis has got his fishing ships all going. He's got his docks up, and he's gonna be moving along there. As Nullis has already gone up through Athena, and we're gonna be seeing 3DB going through Dar. So no surprises. I was saying in the last game that I do think that Dar is the better option, but we are seeing 3DB actually going for some barracks here. This is actually kind of wild. I've not tried this personally. Maybe on a map like Midgard, it might be okay, but when you're playing against Hades, these like classical age units, they don't really get much done. Back gold mine over here. There's going to be a sentinels harassing this. Maybe is open, but yeah, the villagers can just move down here and be completely safe, especially with like a nice little wall over here and defending on this position and getting watchtowers up as well. Not going to be a whole lot of options here for these early units. They're going to be seeing Wadgets, Axemen. There's only the one monument for the time being. It's a market's going to get thrown down. And 3DB is ready to start moving across the map here. Is the dock going to go down or slowly start going down here? But it looks like 3DB should be able to actually defend against this. Those Axemen aren't the best against the Achilles, but at least there's a Wadget or two Wadgets coming, but a Wadget in here with some priests to deal with this Minotaur. And it does do a lot of good damage very, very quickly. As the Pegasus going to be scouting in, seeing exactly what's going on inside of this 3DB base. Look at the way he constructs this base. Everything is in range of these monuments. Bam, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 monuments here. We got the armory, we got the market. Really, really nice. As the Zom coming through, Etomosing all over the place here. A couple of stables, archery range as well. As the Apollo gets cancelled in favor of Aphrodite here. He wants that curse to keep himself alive. But like I said, he doesn't need to leave his base here. He's completely safe for a very, very long time. Nullis gets a full population probably twice over with the amount of gold that he's got in his main base. So he needs to not panic here, get his defenses up, and he should be fine against these classical age shenanigans here. We'll see if 3DB can poke his head in and start getting damage. The other thing that's a really big nuisance, or not a nuisance, but a big advantage that's going to come for Nullis getting to the heroic age this fast is Nullis is going to have access to Purse Scene, which is fishing ship upgrade, which means he's going to get a huge amount of food income advantage. And he's already got a pre-queue. So this is looking a little bit dubious for B, to say the very least. But he does manage to pick off a villager here. That's got to feel good. As he's swinging around onto the bottom, seeing the military academy. Maybe the idea behind all of this from 3DB is to just say, all right, I'm going to put pressure on it and ensure that I don't just die to Skylar harassment on the water. And then I'm going to go for town centers and stay in this classical age and just keep putting pressure on. This might work. This might be the idea here. But he does need to start thinking about getting those town centers up relatively soon behind all of this. The Nemean Lion is now in, and it's going to be Hippaspis, Toxotes, as well as potentially some Hippias to come through for Nullus as well, as he's got to know that he does not have the advantage militarily at the moment, so taking fights here is not going to be great. But he does move forward, drops the curse there and the restoration, as the Nemean Lion looks like it will be falling. The Minotaur as well on the other side there will be falling as well, as I am completely wrong here. This army of Nullus is absolutely dominating. That curse was gigantic, and 3DB loses his entire Classical Age force here. So I guess the next question is, where to next? You lose all your dudes. He's clicked up through Sekhmet. You've forced out the curse. You don't have to deal with any underworld shenanigans or Apollo stuff. Not that that's necessarily a positive, because you still have to deal with the fact that the Greek player has got himself golden apples, though that hasn't been researched yet. We'll see if 3DB can hold on here. He has definitely fallen very far behind with this strategic approach. As the Spearman going to town here on those Hippias on the back here. The Wadjet getting sniped down incredibly quickly by those Greek heroes. As the Spearman just jabbing ever so slightly away, as everything else just simply going to be retreating back. Nullus doesn't need to overcommit at the moment, and I think he did kind of... I don't think he threw in any way, shape, or form, but he did give 3DB a little bit more of a chance now to find himself his way back into this game. Now, the thing here is, with this army, which Nullus has created, I think 3DB can basically just stay with Classical Age units for a little bit. We can grab this town center, drop Citadel. It's going to be really, really good. We'll see if he's going to be able to do so. Let's see what Nullus can see. He's not going to be able to spot the town center. He's spread out his army on the spread formation here. The town center is going to be 30 seconds away from completion, and he does decide to just poke over here and see what's happening. He doesn't see the town center getting built just yet. If it gets up, that's Citadel, and that means that this position is going to be very, very difficult to get damage done, as one priest only to deal with this Nemean Lion. There's another Nemean Lion coming in, huge amounts of splash damage to come through there from the Scarab, as the town center here, 5 seconds away from completion, but the entirety of 3DB's army looking like it's going to be falling here. There's the Citadel center, and 3DB here, he loses his army for the second time, and Nullus says, I don't need to stay underneath this Citadel here. I'm just going to pull back, take my advantage, and build on it, as heavy infantry, heavy range soldiers to come through. He's not getting any more Hippias, so he's just built a handful of those. Maybe he'll get himself heavy cavalry a little bit later. But things are looking very, very dire now for 3DB in this game. Another thing here to point out is hasn't gotten this upgrade here for the axemen. He did get the one for the spears, and he doesn't have the one for the slingers just yet. So the idea of maybe staying in on slinger spearmen here is that the slingers will be able to deal with these Hippaspists fairly nicely, but you still have to get a full population army out, as the fortress coming down here for Nullus going to be able to... Can we see this? I think this might just not work. Yes, in range of the gold mine as well. So this gold is now off limits for 3DB to some degree. He gets up this mining camp on the other side to try and keep himself out of range of that one. I wonder what the reason on this spread formation is. Maybe he's scared of, like, tornado or something? And now we've got the Metropolis, and this is kind of, I would say this is kind of the only real way to break a Citadel Center. It's to get the siege in, because this thing's just got so much HP, so much damage. You really don't want to be sitting underneath it for too long, especially if your opponent's got a couple of units there as well to help defend. The 3DB's now accurate up an army yet again. It's not quite the same level of strength as Nullus is, but he's going to be attempting to take this fight, and Nullus is more than happy to fight here. He can drop himself Sentinels on this position as well, if he so chooses, to control it completely here. As the village is getting taken out, the army cruising through here for Nullus like there is nothing in front of him. The Citadel Center also going to be falling, and it looks like Nullus is going to be moving swiftly to a 2-1 victory here, or lead, I should say, in this series. It's a best of 5, so there's got to get to 3 to win, but Nullus 1 game away from now qualifying for the main event, as he has really shown some incredible Hades play in this game. The 3DB kind of strategy here, I mean, I just don't see it. I think you have to be really, really quick with the damage, with the attack. You got to be in your opponent's base, hitting wood lines. You see the wood lines are kind of exposed on Anatolia. This is probably what his thought process is. The wood lines are kind of exposed, kind of far out. So if you can get in and get that damage nice and quick, you're going to be good. But that being said, with a heroic age of 8 minutes and 40 seconds here, you got to be there at like 6 minutes doing damage, at like 6 minutes 30 doing damage, and you can see at 5:15 classical age. It's not that late, to be honest, but the attack and the damage is coming in late. And once that curse hit, maybe if 3DB was just spamming units out, and instead of going for a heroic age, just went full spam in the classical age and just said, come at me with the curse, I'm going to deal with it, and I'm going to keep going, he might have been okay. But yeah, it just was not the strategy here against Nullus in this one. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the follow button. We've still got another game or 2 to come in this series, so we'll get into the game number 4. Alrighty, guys. Unfortunately, I did watch game 4 of 3DB versus Nullus on EGC TV. If you want to check that out, I recommend going over to their Twitch channel and watching it. They might pop it up on YouTube. I'm not sure. But yeah, we watched that one over there. So unfortunately, I'm not gonna watch it twice. That's just not gonna happen. I don't see the point. So we're going into a different series now. In the bottom of the map, playing as Odin, it is Luki. And his opponent today in the red color, playing as Uranus. His name is Tiger Bows. Tiger Bows, the boss of the Tigers. Okay, back on the Atlantean grind, he was having a lot of fun with Noir over the past couple weeks, but at his heart of hearts, in his soul of souls, he is an Atlantean player, and he's a very scary Atlantean player at that. One of the things that I've learned playing against Tiger Bots is he's an incredibly eco-hungry Atlantean player. He wants to get the eco going. He wants to get those advantages in terms of eco and then pressure, and then put them onto the opponent. So you've got to be aware of this, and you have to be keeping up on that, whether it be to get big timing attacks to hurt the economy, or get your own town centers up and sort of match that economy as well. Luki, on the other hand, he's kind of new to the scene. I'm not actually sure if he has any prior Age Mythology experience to Retold. I'm pretty sure someone can correct me if there's any Dodd members out there. Someone correct me. But I'm pretty sure Luki is new to Retold, or new to Mythology, and a Retold only Age Mythology player, which is incredible because it means that he is caught up in a really big way to all of the other veterans who have sunk many, many more hours into this game. It's just showing how quick of a learner he is and how powerful of an RTS player he is as well. Let's do a quick little cheeky flipperoonie over here as well. As the hand axe comes through, and we will be seeing Prometheus here for Tiger Boss. And Luki not advancing yet. Looking like he's going... Wow, hang on. Luki is already out here cooking. He's got the dish. He's like, all right, we're getting some pumpkin soup in for the appetizer. Moving in to the main. It's going to be a nice, fat, juicy steak. He's already got himself hand axe, pickaxe. Is that it? No husbandry just yet, but hand axe, pickaxe. And he's only now dropping the temple as he looks like he's going for a 445 classical age with Norse. Meanwhile, on the other side, we've got double counter barracks here. Tiger Boss has just gone for 3 oracles. No extra oracles. He's going for Heimdall. I can't even. I don't even know what this is. This isn't allowed. He's got a forward gold mine. This is like all things that scream, do not do this. He's playing against Uranos. Heimdall, difficult to pull off against Uranos. He's got a forward gold mine. Difficult to hold against Uranos if you don't get the early advantage or at least get the early pressure going. Going for a late advance with a 4 gold mine. I think I already said it, but let me say it again. You're not allowed to do that kind of stuff. That's not allowed. Meanwhile, what is this relic doing here? Bow of Artemis just hanging out. He just doesn't want it just yet. Oh, there he goes. He's going to pop it in. And he also gets Bow of Huang Di. Oh! Oh dear. That Bow of Huang Di, if you remember, these Terma, they used to be 5.3 speed. They're now 5 speed. So, yeah, they get caught up to. But, with Bow of Huang Di, they're going to feel like they're uncatchable. These things are going to be really, really strong. As Great Hall comes through. Longhouse, another Great Hall. The pressure from Tiger Boss looking for something here as the watchtowers do get completed. And I guess the other thing here is Lukey, he's got to have in the back of his mind that at some point, Tiger Boss, it can just spend all of his favor on Prometheans. Obviously, he hasn't done it yet, but at some point he can, which does mean he's got to be having the idea of building those Hersa out to deal with it at some point. As Berserks are coming through. They're not... Berserks are really... Unless you've got Hall of Thanes, I wouldn't recommend Berserks against Terma. Terma kind of counter... well, they obviously counter archers, but they also counter slow infantry as well. With this nice shoot and scoot micro here that Tiger Boss is demonstrating. One big weakness of the horse archer is how micro intensive it is. And how do you play? How do you take advantage of that? Well, you go and hit raids while they're microing with the horse archers. Nonetheless, raiding cavalry charging forward. There's not quite enough here, and I'm not even sure if Lukey's going to be able to catch up on these numbers because these Terma are just going to keep getting. These Terma numbers are just going to keep on growing, and it's just going to be really, really challenging for Lukey to do anything here. So you see the Einherry getting taken down. And Terma are going to be charging in here as he's going to dive back into the town center. Can't you catch him with the Einherry boost? You can. You can, but it's very hard. I think your opponent has to kind of misplay a little bit for that to happen. And now Tiger Boss has done something kind of interesting. He's taken every villager off of wood, and he's put them all onto food. He's got him. Wait, does he have a market up? He's got an armory up? No, he's got the wood for it to build it, but it looks like he's looking to try and get to the heroic age here. As the Terma coming through, we do see the raiding cavalry group is now out. This is the big thing that I was talking about. This is the strength of the or the weakness of these horse archers is getting these raids in like this. As Tiger Boss is going to attempt to garrison in. He does get his villagers to safety. There's enough manners here. It's rare to see 3 manners on one spot, but this has been a great way to defend against these raids. As a couple of catapulties are out. And we do see Njord as... No, he doesn't want Njord. He baited us. No, he does want Njord. Okay. Luki is doing everything you're not... Never mind, he's going Scardy. Okay. We're coming back to reality here. Luki says, all right, back to reality. We'll stop messing around. It's going to be fine. I'm going to pull back into my main base. I'm going to have my Frost. Frost really, really good against any sort of horse archer army because it gets them in place. If they get out of position for one moment, you Frost, you surround, you wall, you kill, and you live the dream. But Tiger Boss is now saying, okay, I see you're not building any heroes. I'm going to get alluvial clay. I'm going to start making myself Prometheans. So Dwarves pulling back. Great control from Luki thus far as the raiding cavalry are making their way back over here. One very low HP citizen there will be able to survive. Gets a little bit lucky there. Or maybe Luki a little bit of a misplay to not snipe that one. But he's going to pull back. Almost out of gold on this gold mine, though, is the scary part. He's got himself the market. He doesn't have Rickstooler just yet. Which I think is probably a little bit of a mistake here. Maybe... Well, he's getting himself the Hamask technology. But that Rickstooler is such a big reason, a big part of Heimdall. This is like the only real advantage that Heimdall has. He's got Safeguard as well, mind you, but nonetheless, does he have Safeguard? He doesn't have Safeguard, so no cheap hill fort on this position. As the Terma coming through, those raiding cavalry are in, so I mean these units are out of position. You can't be getting that close to raiding cavalry, it looks like. So the raiding cavalry numbers have managed to come through as those... Wait, did he just use a second?
Escape on?
Lucas says, screw your rules. I'm going to play this game how I want to play it. He says, Rickstooler? Nah. I'm going to use Great Hunt for a second time. Why Rickstooler when I can Great Hunt on this forward deer, which is potentially going to get raided and things like that. He's going for it. And I'm in for it. I'm excited. We'll see. Well, Tiger Boss will be able to get to the heroic age, which does boost these Prometheans up in stats. They go from 210 up to like 245. There you go. 245. So they become very, very powerful. And there's only a handful of heroes here. The Terma as well are really good at picking off those Goaty as well. But the army for Luki is looking nice. And he does still have that Frost. So if a Chaos comes down, Frost the army, and then you're good to go. And already walling up this position is very nice, but the Promethean are going to start bashing through. And Tiger Boss kind of just needs to bash his head against the wall here. He's got to make something happen at the moment. Otherwise, this Norse army is going to get very, very powerful very, very quickly. As the Berserk's charging forward, raiding cavalry trying to get around on to the back side here. Still no Chaos getting dropped down as Tiger Boss is being very, very patient with it. Very disciplined. And it looks like Luki here, his army has been demolished. Well, kind of. He retreats back, keeps most of it alive, but he doesn't manage to win that fight at all. And this is going to just mean, well, time for another bigger attack to come through and push off this gold mine. As we do see a Frost to come down and a wall to attempt to come up onto this position. There's no answer for these Karaballister here, as they are going to get huge damage with the help of the Sage here as well. Lukia's army is getting absolutely... Well, I mean, he's just getting outplayed here. This Frost here is... I like the idea, but he doesn't have the raiding cavalry anymore. to deal with this backline. He should have done this on the first fight. But nonetheless, the Goaty here also targeting down the Frosted units, and the rest of this army for Lukey is just not going to be doing anything. And Tiger Boss wins the first game here with some very, very nice Prometheus Uranus shenanigans. I mean, Lukey, he came in with some very unique ideas. I liked them, but I think he needed to get that Rickstool tech in. I don't think he needed to fight. I think one of the things here with playing Heimdall is get your gold mines secured. Get those hill forts up. Building spam is your friend. Just for a little bit of a reference here, I'm not sure I can show it to you. Maybe I can. The tower costs 135 wood, 100 gold. If you then get yourself the safeguard upgrade, this now goes down to 50 gold. So you're only paying, I don't, you're not even paying 200 resources for a watchtower. Which means if you compare what a watchtower does to like what a Toxote does, they're about the same in terms of DPS, but they don't cost any pop here, and you can just spam them up on a position like this gold mine to defend. Alternatively, making up a couple hill forts here also works. But yeah, safeguard is great there for that idea. Plus, on top of that idea, Rickstool, it's just the bread and butter of Heimdall. Be interesting to see Lukey trying this strategy, but getting that Rickstool out as fast as possible, playing that defensive game, utilizing those towers, making sure it gets down the town center as well. That's another thing that becomes cheaper with the safeguard, and going for it on that angle. I mean, the other thing here is maybe just frosting the army as a whole and then surrounding it with walls, putting the towers down or the hill fort, and then just saying, great, we'll just keep playing. You don't have to win the game in one big swoop, so to speak. You can get little advantages and build on them and find your dub that way, especially with Heimdall. But nonetheless, we'll move on to game number 2 very shortly. It is best of 5, so stick with me as we get the next game going. Alrighty, game number 2. This time, Lukey going to be grabbing himself up that Thor. And on the other side, Tiger Boss is going to be going through with Hades. As the first game concluded with Tiger Boss managing to kind of just find the right moment to attack and also control the army very well, and potentially maybe just Lukey just not quite being able to make it work with the army comp that he went for. But nonetheless, another game here, and now Tiger Boss is on Hades. I haven't seen him playing Hades pretty much at all. This is going to be the first time I've seen it, and it does look like he is going for my build order. Yay! I like this build order here. There's 2 types. There's 3 types of Hades build orders. Okay, so number 1 is no Volta Erebus Far Second Town Center. Don't sleep on this. There's a lot of people who think that you have to rush Volta Erebus with Hades. I don't think it's the case. You can just rush up a second town center if it's the right matchup, and then get Volta Erebus a little bit later. And mathematically speaking, safety-wise as well, you're going to be actually in a good spot as well. This build here that Tiger Boss is doing is just very, very simple. It's a little bit slower than the Primo Fast Volta Erebus build, but it is very, very simple and works a treat. The Primo Fast Volta Erebus build is Soup's build, and he throws like 3 villages on gold, builds the temple as fast as he can, throws a whole bunch of villagers over onto wood, and he just gets it out as literally as fast as he possibly can. And on a map like Ghost Lake with these boars, he's going to have a great time. But yeah, I like this build here for Hades just because it's simple. You don't have to think about it. It all kind of just works. You get a nice 4-minute advance time, 4-minute 15 if you like, and you're good to go. Lukey, on the other hand, looks like he's just playing a fairly standard armory shenanigan thing here. Yes, he is. One thing that I think is kind of making I'm going to go ahead and say it's a big mistake. Is he's using the town center to shoot these boars. Town centers shooting buildings shooting arrows just does not give you any favor. These boars have got themselves 2 to 3 favor inside of them worth of HP. And you need to get yourself 10 favor to get that Hammer of Thunder out, which Lukey does have pre-queued. So if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 boars, that's going to be 8 favor there if you just shoot them down manually. Yes, it's going to set your advance time back a little bit, idle villages or what have you, to get that favor in, but it's well and truly worth it. As you can see, there's also some chickens over here which are all worth 1 favor, so he probably will be able to get himself all of that favor in if he shoots this boar down normally, and it's going to be fine, but we would be able to save those chickens otherwise. Anyways, we'll see what's going to happen here as the Athena coming through for Tiger Boss. It looks like he is going for a fast second town center, which, like I said already, I think if this is your plan, and to some degree you've already decided what your plan is before the game has even started, it might just be worth it to do a 3:45 advance time and drop your town center immediately. Could you get your villagers out a little bit earlier? It's completely safe. And you could also decide to then put pressure onto your opponent rather than anything else. But nonetheless, it's neither here nor there. The town center is going to come up nice and quick here. It's going to be a 4:30 advance time into the town center, starting and finishing a little bit later. But this will give Lukey all of the initiative in this game. He can decide to go second to town center, third town center if he wants to. He can go 1 town center and try and get a gold staff. He can go for a gigantic... just a gigantic push in the classical age or a sort of heroic age timing attack, or yeah, you can just sort of just go for raids and slowly put town centers down a little bit later. The town center will start and finish after it starts. Exactly, that is the analysis. But 45 seconds later, when you started at 5 minutes here, 5 minutes 45 seconds, if you did the 3:45 advance time, you can be onto this town center and it can be finished at 4:30. That's the real analysis there. So you can do the math on exactly where things line up, who's in front at later points in the game. But nonetheless, I don't want to harp on about it too much. I just want to give you guys all the sort of different options that you can use at home when you're playing against your opponents to get yourselves the advantages. And you know, if you try one idea and it doesn't work, maybe you go for a different idea and it does work, sort of thing. But nonetheless, looks like Lukey here will be spotting the town center, and he can go ahead and just go, all right, you went town center, I go town center. Happy days. He has 1 longhouse up, and he's already got the resources to get this one. And generally speaking, especially with Thor, but even with the other Norse gods, getting your town center up a minute 30 behind your opponent isn't enough of a advantage for your opponent to just like run away with the game. So you're still playing a very close game here in this sort of a situation. So we'll see how it's going to go. He's also getting the berserks out. Now, one thing here that I think Lukey, I mean, in a way he's missing, in a way he can't really get the damage done, or sorry, Tiger Boss. It would be these resources in the bank, having spent all of them and having been harassing this town center. That's the other thing that he probably could have gone for. Maybe put the buildings here so he could send this way or this way. Have the scout in position to see which town center is getting grabbed and then immediately move over there. Potentially an early restoration to put some pressure on. Could have been an option, but it's not going to be a problem here for Lukey. He has his town center up. He's actually already got the Skadi pre-queued. He's decided he wants it. I don't even think he's going to really be placing all too many more buildings down, though he does still have himself 7 villages on wood, so there will be infrastructure to come through, but spamming of units, probably not. And I think Tiger Boss's plan here on the other side is going to be very, very similar as well. As the military academy comes down, does he have an armory up yet? Not just yet. but the resources are coming through pretty quickly. Lots of villagers on food, lots on wood. On this top position here, there's not really a whole lot of food. This town center isn't the best in terms of like getting his economy sorted, but it is really good in terms of just grabbing gold mines, securing all those is going to be really nice. I told you before that Tiger Boss is a greedy Atlantean player, but did you know Tiger Boss is a greedy Hades player? I wouldn't call this like max greed. This is kind of like fundamentally greedy. You're allowed to do this. Your opponent goes 2 town centers. You're allowed to get 1 more town center and just try and play defensive. You can hold pretty much anything if you play it well. Nonetheless, Dwarves going to be moving up onto this gold mine. Longhouse coming out over here. And he will be able to grab those caribou here. Now, unfortunately for Tiger Boss, he doesn't have himself the sentinels for this position, which would be very nice. And I guess also for Lukey, unfortunately for him, he's very close to spotting the settlement there, but he's not going to know that this is a 3-town center Hades for quite some time. And maybe if he noticed this, he might change his tune on the Skadi and decide to go for Bragi here. But wow, we've already got Apollo in. This is just getting greedier and greedier and greedier, ladies and gentlemen. 3 town centers, and then he goes for the Apollo instead of Aphrodite, meaning he doesn't have that help to defend against any sort of big classical age pushes. Now, luckily for Tiger Boss, Lukey is going for Skadi, but had Lukey spotted this and he just spammed out units, this would die. All of this would die. This would probably even die. And maybe you'd also be struggling over here as well in the heroic age. But nonetheless, we'll see how things are going to go as Dwarven Breastplate on the way. Lukey still doesn't know that Tiger Boss is on 3 town centers. Kind of doesn't... The score is kind of making Lukey feel like he's in a good spot, but he's going to be seeing the heroic age before his, and he's going to have to think, well, I guess he's just gone 2 town center fast heroic, right? That's like your guess on the situation, but he sees nothing over here as well. As the Manticore is now out, and this is going to be able to send those berserks packing for the time being. And the other thing here is archery range, a pacifist, Toxotes with their ballistics for free is going to be big. There's a hill fort coming through over here. And Huskar are going to start coming in. So this is kind of the like big unit composition that Norse players use against Greek to make things very, very tricky. On the Norse side of things, it's actually very simple to use.
Skipan.
Huskar sort of pull back, throw an Axeman, kill the Pacifist, and then the Huskar will push through and kill off all of those Peltast. Which means that you've also got the Peltast, though. They have to... It's basically the same thing on the other side, but the Peltast actually have to micro down to throw an Axeman. So you got to do like 1 extra action. So it's a little bit more hard, a little bit more difficult to micro for the Hades player, Peltast and Pacifist. But we are seeing, for the time being, it's going to be Toxotes. But the longer that Lukey waits, the harder this is going to be. I do like the idea of this Frost and Skadi here as well, because you can catch Tiger Boss out in a really big way. This Lukey is now seeing the army. It's got heavy infantry. It's got medium archers versus these heavy units over here. And Lukey pulls back for the time being. He's very much in front in terms of units produced here, in terms of military. Tiger Boss, I don't know if... Wait, does Tiger Boss know anything? He doesn't really. He doesn't know that this isn't taken. But he needs to be careful. He can't get caught out on this spot. He does not have the military units just yet to take this fight, but he is going for it. He drops the restoration, and Luki retreats. At least he retreats up until the end of the restoration there, as he now decides to go in yet again here. As that back line is going to fall very quickly once the Huskal break through. And Tiger Boss pulling all the way back up here. This is getting to be very, very tricky now for him, as he's going to sneak back up onto this spot. Those Toxotes are just... I mean, they're good against the Berserks, I guess, but the Thrown Axemen are just going to do so much damage here as well. As Tiger Boss pulls back into this spot, Luki realizes he can't quite break through here. And for those of you kind of struggling in this matchup of Hades against Thor, what you really want to do is try and wait until you're at full pop. When you're at full pop, that Norse army just starts to feel very, very weak. So if you can get up to full pop, 205, 235 population, whatever it is, and then take your fights, that's going to be the good thing. But Tiger Boss, his greed has really now bit him in the bum, as a lot of villagers getting caught out over here. Did he run this way? He ran back into the town center as the army going to start moving over here. Lots of wood and gold in the bank, as Tiger Boss is definitely going to be wanting to get some more buildings out here. He's got the Petropolis now here to siege down the hill for, but the town center is taking a lot of damage here as well. The Huskal are going to be breaking through a couple of Hypaspists in to deal with those, but the Thrawn Axemen will clean them up very, very quickly. As it looks like the town center for Tiger Boss will end up falling. And Luki claiming the bottom town center for himself, killing villagers off himself as well, equalizing on the villager count, and potentially then moving on to having a 4-2 town center advantage in this game. On top of this, though, we got that first dwarven mine to come down, dropping it over here, actually. This is huge because it makes those dwarves... Look at the comparison here. 1.59, 1.27. Quite huge here, and it looks like Tiger Boss says, all right, that's the game. I'm going to tap out. GG. Well played by Luki. I think Tiger Boss is well and truly in the lead in this game, but he threw his advantage by taking that fight before his economy had kicked in. So, when did he finish the town center is the question. Let's see if we can... I'm not going to look at this resource tab. I'm going to try and guess based on the time the town center finishes as to when the eco maybe gets a little bit more in gear. So, here's Tiger Boss's town center at 8 minutes. I think that at 13 minutes here into this game, this was the moment where Tiger Boss's economy really starts stonking. Let's see how far off I am. 13 minutes. There you go. He's 700 resources behind at this point. So he needed to wait until that moment before he starts really taking fights. He clicks his restoration back here, and he just didn't quite have... Maybe he clicked his restoration back here. He didn't quite have the army out. So he did kind of wait for the moment, but maybe he needed to wait even longer. Maybe it was more close to a 14-minute into the game or something like that. But nonetheless, if you guys enjoyed this one, please continue to follow on the Twitch. From the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game. Alrighty, we're up to game number 3 right now. We are level at 1-1 in this best of 5 decider for the qualifications of the Clash of the Immortals. I know that I kind of have the thing over here, but huge shout out to EGC TV and everything they're doing for the Age Mythology space. I really hope they can continue to do these tournaments and everyone supports them, because it's really, really cool to have one of those, like a really big kind of production studio type thing supporting the esports scene in Age Mythology. So big thumbs up. But so far we've had a really, really cool series, and we'll see if these players can kind of continue to keep the level really high. Luki in the right-hand corner of the map, as I flip these Deuterinos over, is going to be playing as Freyr. And in the left-hand corner of the map, we're going to be seeing Tiger Boss playing as ISIS. The map here is steppe, so a really, really nice and open map. This is going to be nice for the, I would say nice for the ISIS player, because you're going to be able to either go in with a Nubites or Sphinx or Camel Riders or Chariot Archers, and it's going to feel really, really good. On top of this, there's also really nice fast second town center ideas here against this very, very powerful Norse god threat. Up on this spot, this town center here with a potential hill fort, or not hill fort, Migdol stronghold or 3 to surround these gold mines, allowing you then to start pressuring very quickly into the main base over here, pressuring this town center potentially on this side, breaking through down to the bottom here and pressuring those gold mines. And there's just a lot of points that you can kind of launch off, which is the aim of the game here for Egyptian players. In my estimate, you've got to set up that launch pad to get your pressure going. If you have to build your Migdols on the absolute other side of the map, then you don't have that sort of ability. So, for example, if you build a town center here and you put your Migdols on this spot, then all of a sudden you've got a very long way to go to get over and start getting some pressure in. But anyways, we'll see how things are going to go. Relics on the map. We've got ourselves Trojan Gate Hinge here. Increases the wall hit points plus 40 hit points there. Over here we've got Pelt of Argus, getting that line of sight through as well. On the bottom side we've got Ankh of Ra, giving a tiny favor trickle rate in, as well as Ive Ornu. This one's really actually quite nice for ISIS. ISIS is really missing out on Ptah against Norse. This is the big thing, I think. And also missing out on Horus as well. But with that one relic there, it's not as much of a boost as Scalloped Axe, but it can kind of feel a little bit like you've got that Scalloped Axe in for the Axemen and make you feel a little bit more comfortable about building them against Norse. So if you can pick that one up, it's going to be really nice. He does actually spot this here as well as he moves forward with the priest, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Hands of the Pharaoh getting grabbed and picking that relic up. But Bast is in, only one monument for the time being, and I'm expecting a fast second town center here from Tiger Boss. Let's take a quick look at what he spotted. He sees the town center over here. He sees the town center over here. This one does look alluring. It looks alluring because you have some deer here. But the gold mine, kind of far away, it's not really the best. Whereas he doesn't really see what's on the top position. But if you know this map step, you know that this is generally going to be a really nice town center. You can also lure these bear underneath the town center. These bear as well can move under. These actually got 200 food, so it's not nothing. Yes, they got a little bit more HP, but it's still pretty good. Plus, there's some boars on this spot here that he can try and grab. But it looks like Tiger Boss is simply just going to go for this town center and call it a day. Meanwhile, Luki, on the other hand, going for Ullur, 430 advance time, and moving forward here as a longhouse for Luki. He's going to come up, and he is going to have to start working on the next thing. Now, depending on how aware Luki is going to depend on whether or not he realizes he's going to be playing against 2 town center ISIS here. I don't think this, as I look at the stats here, it doesn't really look like Tiger Boss is grabbing a town center. Maybe they fixed the stats. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. Once the town center... No, the town center's already finished. So they haven't. It's got nothing to do with anything. Never mind. Anyways, moving up onto this spot. The army here going to be checking out the town center over here. And going to say that is now my town center. I don't know if Tiger Boss... Did he catch this? I don't think he did. Let's get an armory in a market. And we will be seeing the immediate Asgardian bash. So Luki does have an inkling that there's a town center up. He's going for it. Not going for too many long houses here. And he is going to be moving along in this game. Thank you for the Prime, Ashlyn. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for the support. Mwah! As the Sphinx is going to be coming through here. Getting a little bit of pressure in onto this one. I went to the final 16 Clash. So the finals are going to start on Saturday at 1500 GMT. Thanks for the Prime Shades of Grey. Man, you guys have been awesome today. Thank you so much, guys. So, I guess we'll see where to next. Now, I guess the one thing that you're a little bit scared of here as the Frey player is some sort of a fast mythic from the Isis. But there is plenty of time to get pressure on it and get some sort of an attack going. Alternatively, you just say, great, go for the fast mythic. I'm going to go for 3-4 town centers if you really feel like it. Pump units out, take the damage, and then just hold and then push back. So there's a lot of really, really nice ways you can kind of play against that sort of strategy. But kind of not doing anything is the easiest way to lose against the strategy, we'll see how things are going to go. But, you know, Ancestors or Nephthys coming through. So Ancestors Eclipse is going to be on the cards here. So you've got to be a little bit careful with your villager positioning as the Sphinx pushing forward. Going to get sent back there. Obelisk going to go down as well. And we'll see where to next for Luki. I mean, he's got to be thinking about the next age himself, but it looks like he's just pumping units out. He's got no food in the bank. He does have himself only 34. Only 34 military at 8 minutes into the game is leaving me with questions to ask about exactly where those resources are getting spent. He got himself watchtowers. He's got his units all sort of spread out in his base here. The Sphinx is obviously waiting to look to drop this Ancestors Eclipse. The Hersa are going to be in. As the Hersa come through, the villagers are going to be retreating back. There's the Ancestors Eclipse to come through as the Sphinx gets the special off. Going to pick off one villager there. 2 villagers. Nope. Gets into the tower. Going to be moving into the main base here as the Draugr will be here to defend. It might be worthwhile to just ring that town bell and just stay away from all of this stuff, because this is just a lot of damage coming his way. But it looks like Luki has managed to basically survive relatively unscathed here. A little bit too late on that pullback from the villagers. Loses 2 dwarves there as he's going to come back onto the gold mine. The towers here going to be able to send the villagers back over onto the wood fairly shortly here as well, as the Ancestors searching for villagers to kill, but there's not really many anywhere at this top spot. As you do see, the Migdol stronghold is now up, and the villagers are now going to be mining away at this gold mine. And this is that moment that I was talking about where it's like, I mean, I think if Luki had macroed this much better than he did, he would have a lot more units out, and he could easily be ruining Tiger Boss in this moment. But Tiger Boss here looks like he's going to be able to get his fast mythic off with the help of this Ancestors Eclipse. And with Luki just kind of sitting back and not doing anything at the moment, this is going to be a very, very difficult Isis push to come through and defend. So you see a barracks to come through. It's going to be Camel Riders for the time being. Camel Riders kind of makes sense, but also Chariot Archers also makes sense given the sort of infantry-centric focus that often Freya likes to do. We've also got a whole bunch of farms here, which is strange considering the goats are here. Not exactly sure what the idea is there, but nonetheless. Another Asgardian just about to complete as Levy Migdol soldiers is going to come through. Generally, you want to get yourself Levy, conscripts, and get yourself that immediate Valley of the Kings. As we see a monument to the priest to come down here to just defend on this position against any potential A-gear stuff. Got a question in the chat. Is fast mythic a strat you'll see in Isis/Egyptian? I do think that Isis is probably the of all the Egyptian gods, Isis is the one that's going to be executing the strategy the most. Mostly because Ancestors Eclipse is that thing that puts your opponent onto the back foot. But, I mean, if you're prepared for this, I really think that if you macro correctly in the classical age, I don't think it's possible. I don't think this works. I think you get run off the map pretty hard. Maybe you get to the mythic age, but you're going to lose a ton of villages and be in a really tough spot. But at the moment here, Tiger Boss has executed really, really well, and Luki has found himself in a very difficult position. kind of in a difficult position. He still can defend here. Don't get me wrong. He can still defend here. He's got the A gear coming through. He's going to have himself, unless it gets deleted or denied by the Meteor, as immediately we've got Valley of the Kings to come in. So all these walls coming through here, just trying to make everything as tight and compact as possible. I feel like if you're going to play this style of threat, you want to just grab that third town center as fast as humanly possible and just say, Antis Eclipse, whatever, I'll just garrison my dudes and just have some idle economy for 40 seconds or so. And just take whatever is going to come at you with this Mythic Age. But nonetheless, Heroic Age is now in. Phoenix flying through to try and take out this position. Maybe there's another idea with these farms, and I don't really know. I got no idea, to be honest. We've got to see that Meteor coming through. There's a handful of houses here, all the other good stuff. As Yidadlir, I actually don't know how to say this. This one's going to be boosting up those hill forts as the Phoenix coming in, getting that Draugr in to get that damage done. We've got a couple of Herdmen to come through. Huskal as well, going to be really nice, as Tiger Boss is definitely searching for a max value Meteor here. Whether that be on this spot or over here, I'm not sure. Does find some villages in the top position. The Phoenix moving around at 4.5 speed is going to be very powerful. This Draugr, I'm pretty sure the Draugr will win this. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. He's running away. He's just got to keep getting that damage. I'm trying to pull the Phoenix underneath this Asgardian Hill Fort. There are some Goaty over here, as he does manage to pull it back under, as the Draugr will end up falling. The Meteor going to be coming in, hitting those villages, as Luke, you're going to immediately garrison everything on this position. Going to break that Asgardian Hill Fort. A huge amount of damage. Lots and lots of villages falling here. The army as well, though, looking like it manages to dodge the brunt of that damage. And Luke, he takes a huge amount of damage here, but I think he's okay. But he has to be careful because this Phoenix Egg is coming back in. He can take those Goaty to deal with it. He's not actually reacting to it just yet. Champion Chariot's already in. The Camel Rider's going to be moving into the main base. There is a Rock Giant here to taunt these bad boys up. And we'll see if Lukey has what it takes here to break through. Those Chariot Archers will just keep on shooting and scooting. One way to deal with this is to just hide in the hill fort. Don't have to chase forward. Wait for the Chariot Archers to move in, and then ungarrison on top of the Chariot Archers as an idea. Especially with like Herdmen as well versus the Chariot Archers. As Vidar now pre-queued. Tiger Boss still looking for all of this value with these Chariot Archers. Look, he's just sniping these down so well. Technically speaking, people are talking about the Chariot Archer getting nerfed. It did. It lost one range. But where it lost that range, it got extra DPS. Well, it actually lost a little bit of DPS as well. But it got extra DPS versus infantry. So the Chariot Archers versus Norse, for the most part, got buffed. But I still think these Huskal are going to be able to do completely fine against the Chariot Archers if controlled correctly. But Tiger Boss is doing a fantastic job here of controlling these thus far. More Huskal falling. This gold mine is about to get targeted down. Two dwarves going down there, as well as the Huskal charging in to get this damage done. I think Luke has got to be kind of kicking himself for not getting buildings up here to protect on this spot. He does have a gold mine at the top position here, which is going to be quite nice. As the army charges through, Tiger Boss not paying attention here. He's going to lose a lot of units here now, as he does have to pull back. But now Tiger Boss has got 3 town centers himself. He's still getting this big amount of bonus resources from getting the double Chariot Archer spammage out. Also building some elephants to start pushing forward, taking the middle of the map here as well with the Migdol strongholds. Can Lukey bring this game back is the big question. He's got so much food in the bank. I don't think he needs any food income at the moment. He needs gold, and he needs wood here first and foremost. I genuinely think that this God Freya needs, like, once you hit the heroic age, you need like 10 villages on food max. Because you get this Feast of Renown in, and you just pump out hill forts all over the place, and you just get a huge amount of economy going for yourself. We'll see if he's going to ever start pulling that off. He can sell some food here if he likes to try and get himself to the next stage. He's now up to nearly full population himself with another Asgardian hill fort. $3.9k. There's a weird bug that happens when with the observer thing. I know that this is known. Once you get tusks of Apatomac, or any sort of upgrade that takes the population off a unit, the observer UI gets a little bit funky. It gets a little bit funky. So just take a look at the resource tab here for your guesstimate on how the armies are going. As the chariot archer is going to continue to push in, get snipes, and all the other good stuff. Champion elephants to come through. Catapults coming in as well. There's a longhouse now coming up onto this top position. Vidar on the way here as well, but this game is slowly turning into a potential to become a very big slogfest. One thing here for Luke is he's already started, or he's already got his market set up, so he can start a trade route if he likes to. That's another hill fort to come through here for Lukey. The elephants charging in onto this spot, but are there herbmen here? There are 6 herbmen, so that's going to be a big help here. He doesn't have the bonus of Bragi with Swinerator to deal with them all, but nonetheless he will be able to hold against that push as one Asgardian hill fort will end up going down. The Rock Giant trying to get in and taunt up the chariot archers as Lukey says it's time to go, but he still doesn't have himself that mythic age. He's down fortified town centers. It's about to come through, but he's also down champion infantry and all of those iron technologies, which is giving Tiger Boss the big advantage in this game. But he is trying to get out everything possible. If you take a look at his buildings, he's got 11 longhouses, 5 Asgardian hill fort. We'll see if he can hold at this point, as those herbmen getting on top of the chariot archers is a big deal. And no attempt at any sort of axeman shenanigans here from Tiger Boss will be hurting him in a big way. But it looks like Tiger Boss is happily sitting at 250 population, so I'm just wrong on that. So he's doing perfectly fine as the catapults are just going to slowly start killing everything off. More Migdol strongholds to start coming through here for Tiger Boss as Aegir Tempest does get clicked down. The Inferno, he shoots, he hits. No Gul'Bursti getting clicked just yet either. He's still got that Mythic Age Gul'Bursti to hold on. As all of those infantry units getting cleaned up, and Tiger Boss is in a fantastic position now. I mean, he's been in a fantastic position for basically this entire game, but nonetheless, he is in a really, really good spot here to move on to win this game. Also, Siege of the Titans to come through. He's got such an economic lead here as well already, as the Catapult going to be cleaning up the longhouses and all the other good stuff. Towers to come through as well for Tiger Boss, as he says, I got resources up the wazoo. He's not losing units. That's why he has all of this economy. But he could be thinking about getting himself those iron upgrades as well, especially iron weapons. As the Huskar still trying to break through, trying to get onto the chariot archers. They're pulling back nicely, getting underneath the Migdol Fire. When he gets that front line in with Elephants, it's going to be even more challenging for Luki to break through. But Luki's got the right army composition here to deal with what Tiger Boss has. Tiger Boss needs Axemen. Otherwise, these champion infantry units are going to do everything that they need to start winning here, as all the elephants are going to be dying, and all of a sudden it's kind of feeling like a slight advantage maybe for Luki is starting to cook here. But I'll tell you what's cooking that elephant. That's burnt. That's a burnt elephant. Oh, never mind. He's turned back to normal though. As Luki keeps charging forward, but he's still got to break through all of those Migdols as well. And he's now down to 165 population. Looks like he's out of gold. Onto this gold mine here. He started the trade route, but his markets have been deleted as he swaps over onto this bottom spot to try and get himself as much gold as he possibly can. And Tiger Boss as well. Titan Gate coming up. 225 seconds for that one to come through. And Luki says in that moment, game is done. He's too far behind. And that is the dub for Tiger Boss here on the ISIS. This is just well executed from Tiger Boss, and I think Luki maybe a little bit out of his depth in this matchup. That you've got to be very, very quick with your talent center grabbing if you want to play a defensive Norse against this. The fast 3 town centers is imperative. Otherwise, your economy is going to get hit with a meteor, and you're going to just be in a tough spot. On top of that, I think Luki, obviously still holding the Ghoul and Bursty in this game, he could have dropped it on this top town center to try and push with the Tempest. That could have been a nice way to give himself some more advantage. And then beyond all of that, I don't think he really needed to take some of those more early fights, losing a lot of units to the Chariot Archers, giving Tiger Boss more and more of an advantage. He may have been able to find his way back into this game even after that really brutal Ancestors Eclipse and Meteor sort of early game stuff there. But nonetheless, a well-played game by Tiger Boss. He is up now 2-1 in this best of 5 series. First 3. We'll see if he can win it in 4 or if we're going to go to a game number 5. Alrighty, we're into game number 4 right now, and Luki does decide to pick his Loki, not his Luki, his Gaia, his actual Luki, his Loki has actually been picked by one Tiger Boss, the boss of the Tigers. And we're going to be seeing a classic here, Gaia versus Loki. I for a little bit in Retold, I thought that this matchup was still Loki favored, but the more I play it, the more I'm like, actually, no, this is actually really a skill-based matchup. That's all I'm going to say about it. So it's a really, really close matchup. It's all going to come down to playing it in a very specific way, though, for the Gaia player. If they don't know how to play that style, it's going to become very, very difficult. Same, too, for the Loki player. If they don't understand how to play against the Gaia, they're just going to lose. So you can go, it can go either way in the early stages of the game, as we do see an Oracle getting caught out. Now, I know that Tiger Boss is going to know how to play against Gaia because he is a Gaia player. He's an Atlantean player at his heart of hearts. I'm excited to see him playing these other gods. He was definitely a one-trick pony come the start of Retold, but he has been working on his off-civs quite a bit and definitely coming into his own as a player who can play quite a few. I've seen him playing the Isis quite well already in this series. We saw him going in with Hades, not quite being able to make it work there, but still having a great go of it nonetheless. And now Loki, he has to play all these different gods, and Luki has obviously stolen away the Gaia, and I imagine he also banned the Kronos, allowing potentially, well, he saw one Uranus already, but allowing the Uranus in. So he's managed to get a lot of gods away from Tiger Boss in his exploits, so to speak. Meanwhile, relics. Hestia's Hearth. Always nice to grab that one to give yourself a little bit of an economic edge in a game. Nose of the Sphinx here. Going to be getting that building hit points through. Up on the top, we've got Trojan Gate Hinge. Getting a little bit of hit points onto those walls. Ulla's Bow over here with the range attack going up. On this side, we've got Harmonious Necklace with the gather work rate for gold being plus 10%. And over here, we've got the Kopesh of Horus with damage bonus against myth units. Always nice to have that one, but even nicer when you're Loki. As I see a little bit of a strange build order here from Tiger Boss. He took his villagers off of wood and put them over onto food to get himself a 4-minute advance. Did he do something else? I'm a bit confused. I'm not sure exactly why or what was happening. As Lukey decides to go through Leto. Alright. I am going to try and figure out what Lukey's game plan is here. This is one of those things that she's just not allowed to do. Okay, so the reason why this matchup is a lot better in Retold than on Legacy is because of Bite of the Shark. This technology really helps out those Murmillo. And beyond that, you've got the Gaia Lush, which helps out your Terma and also helps out you defend. What does Leto give you? You can't really build Automaton. You can't really build Automaton because they get killed off way too quickly against the Hersa. This technology here boosts your pierce resistance for all your units, which doesn't help against Norse. On top of this, counter barracks? Okay, I've got it. I figured it out. Here's the strat. He's going to go for Cairo Ballista. Never mind, he's building Terma. I was going to say he's going to go for Cairo Ballista, Automaton, and go for a Deathball comp, which the Herso just can't even get close to killing off the Automatons, and they're going to be really, really good. I thought that's what he's going to go for, but he's going to open up with a handful of Terma to kick the game off, and we're already seeing some raiding cavalry coming through as well. Spamming out the spider lair is an okay idea, but this will... I mean, it's going to help, I guess. We'll see how it goes. This is very, very off meta to say the very least, and this is going to take Tiger Boss way out of book. But he's already got these raiding cavalry down as he drops the first spider lair. One will go down. The other two are going to just hatch, and Tiger Boss is never going to move back over that area. He's going to have that one in the back of his brain for quite some time. The walls to come up to defend against this Terma shenanigans. And I guess the game continues. Now, Lukey will be needing some, as he is moving forward with these houses. I like this, but he's going to be needing some catapulties here as well very shortly, because these raiding cavalry, while they might not be as fast as the Freya raiding cavalry with thundering hooves, they are really effective because they got that bonus damage from Loki. We're also seeing a couple of Hersa to come through just in case. There's only 3 oracles out, so there's not going to be any amazing myth unit spammage, though these oracles are kind of sharing some space here. So not the most efficient of favor generation as a economic guild to come through. Does Lukey have himself? He does have channels coming in, so that will be helping those raiding cavalry out a bit. Oh, the inefficient oracle now goes down. As the raiding cavalry pulling back over here, and now you look at, as soon as this comes through, 5 speed Terma. Feel a little bit sad. I want to see the 5. I think it's like 5.9. It can't be that fast. The catapulties are quick. But nonetheless, he's going to be still searching around. I want to see him get onto the lush for me. Quick, get over there. Onto the lush. Just one step. There we go. 5.8. 5.8 speed. So yeah, they're quick. They're quick. And you just spread this lush out everywhere. But Tiger Boss is playing very smart at the moment. He's being very, very careful. Sitting in his main base. The Terma are looking for some sort of raids here. As he comes through, tries to pick off a dwarf. Not going to quite be able to do so. Raiding cavalry coming in. Does turn around, trying to snipe them. Great micro there from Tiger Boss here, as Lukey going to be retreating back, and Tiger Boss is just like, go on, retreat, see if I care. I'm going to run away, and we're all good. Mana to come through here for Lukey. More citizens to grab these boars, but this is now looking a little bit scary for Tiger Boss here as he's trying to push forward. These catapulties are very, very powerful. The spider lair on 30 seconds before another one here. And now Tiger Boss is going to come up with something. He's obviously going to try and secure this gold mine at the top. This is where Lukey wants to be pressuring. Potentially getting some buildings down the bottom here, spreading that lush, and then spreading the lush forward into this spot as well is going to be really, really difficult to play against because Tiger Boss is just stuck in his main base. Let's take a quick look at this this economic guild. Doesn't have himself the second age or the third age economic upgrades you can get, but nonetheless, the main base now open for attacking. As Tiger Boss is now going to just spam out Ursa, which probably means you need to get some Caraballister in here. You don't have to get many, just get like 3 or 4 just to stick in and be like the glue that prevents your army from getting absolutely totaled by those Ursa as... Well, that's one way to be sneaky. The sneakiest of Tiger Bosses. That's good control there from Tiger Boss here. Dodging away as the units coming through. And, he will lose 1 raiding cavalry there. A win for the spider lair for the moment. He can also sneak these villagers up here and just mine that gold mine as well. Just see military barracks, and there's the Caraballister. I want to see that Caraballister actually getting heroized. Heroize that bad boy. It is expensive, don't get me wrong, but it's worth it. As Tiger Boss isn't on this gold mine. He's kind of just sitting in his base, getting himself food. Playing really, really defensively, getting trolls out now. Lots of villagers on wood. As the Hersa are now going to be looking for raids here. This is a scary amount of Hersa. You've got to be careful with the Caraballister. While they're on the lush, they are 4.4 speed, but that's still slower than those Hersa there. Catapult is going to get sniped down. The citizens attempting to retreat away, and he does spot the Caraballister, sniping that one down very quickly. That's a huge loss there as the wall, Tiger Boss, trying to keep him stuck in this position. Now the army has to come back, and these raids are going to be brutal. Plus, the longer these guys are out, he's got 25 Hersa. That's troll after troll after troll, and he can just get those. He doesn't need gold for trolls. But obviously this can get countered pretty hard by a lot of heroes getting converted. But nonetheless, a manner of Lukey's getting taken out. Tiger Boss has found somewhat of an answer here for this army. But he's going to take some damage on the retreat here for sure. Any sort of a ghost building to come down? Nope. The Terma trying to chase in. No ballistics means he does miss quite a lot of those arrow shots. As the dwarves now deciding, okay, we'll come up and grab the gold mine. Has he been trading? No. Tiger Boss hasn't even been trading here. He's only got 1 troll out. Wait, how has he? There's no way he's only got 1 troll out, right? He's got 2 trolls out. He's got 3. Okay, there they are. I was like, he's got no favor in the back. He's building 3 trolls. He's got 3 already out. So it's going to be 6. So realistically here, I don't like the rear at all. I want to see mass heroized units. I want to see... Hang on. Let me just pause this. Are we back? Hello? My OBS is like it's not even saying that I'm streaming anymore. It's giving me nothing. So I've got no I don't know what's happened here. I got no idea. I don't know. Big question mark on everything. Okay, we're back. Okay, I think we're back. OBS needs to get a big smack. Big smackaroony. Smack, smack. Okay, let's continue. Actually, I'm gonna wait. We got a random ad going as well. All right. Apologies. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I really don't know what went on there. It just kind of said your stream key is wrong, and I'm like, I didn't change anything. What happened there? Maybe Twitch decided to have a bit of a thingy. All right, let's just continue on. Okay. All right, onwards and upwards. Had a bit of technical difficulties here as the Hearser now charging in. These Caraballas on the back do not have that front line here as Tigerboss's army manages to sort of break through the raiding cavalry on the back line there. The Catapult is trying to deal with these as it looks like, Tigerboss's army here has managed to overpower Luki's army, and Luki in that moment does decide to tap out. Well, I mean, that is the end of the game. That is the end of the series. That is a congratulations to Tiger Boss as he manages to beat the weirdness out of Luki here. I do think that this made some sense, but this last fight here, the positioning was just awful. He got way caught out. The Caraballas are the main glue that stick this strategy together, I think. And you need to ensure that at all points, the Caraballas are getting surrounded by Catapultis. So what you really want to do, I think, in this situation is to have your Terma split off on a separate group and have your Catapultis and your Caraballista in box formation. And that way, your opponent's never really going to be able to get onto them, and you can sort of control the Terma how you like. But I'm not even sure because, like, the Mass Hearser is always going to be good against Catapultis. You got to get... normally, you got to also have Murmillo in to sort of tank up and allow the Caraballas to get damage done, but we didn't really see that. But a well-played game here nonetheless by Tiger Boss, and a well-played series by Tiger Boss as well, as he does manage to qualify for the main event. So you're going to be able to see him playing just a little bit more, or even he might make it even further. Plug-in for him. He's definitely getting it together with his God Pool. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this one, please continue to follow on Twitch. From the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.